Good afternoon, everyone. These are your hosts, Yusuf
and Deep, and welcome to the Good Afternoon Show.
Today's episode is a little different. Today, we talk about you. Yes, you, fellow student, sitting behind the screen. We're gonna talk about your struggles, your interests, and many more things, so make sure you're listening.
We asked some of you to tell us things you're interested in, and we got a huge variety of responses, ranging from gaming all the way to music and aliens. And so now we have some personal favorites to chat about.
Our first topic is a very influential part of every teenager's life, and a form of art, if I may say so myself. Memes. The relatability and humor gives all of us that very needed comic relief in our lives, and a lot of serotonin.
We picked out some incredible memes that have lived in our mind rent-free for years. We present you with our top 5. Let the meme fest begin.
Coming in at number 5, we have one of the greatest songs to grace planet Earth. Dollar Mendy's Tunuk Tunuk. This song has and can be used in every context, absolutely any situation. The music video in itself is hilarious. If you can't recall this masterpiece, here's a snippet to refresh your memory.
At number 4, we have Vine. To honor the app that has given us the most iconic videos of all time that aren't leaving our memory anytime soon. These have gotten us through dark times with laughter and that good old dark humor that we all love and adore. Here's one you might know. Let us stand up in respect.
Road work ahead? Yeah, I sure hope it does.
At numero 3, we've got Doge. This Shiba Inu dog has had so much influence that it has become a cryptocurrency with the name of Dogecoin. Wow. One day, you post a picture of your cute dog, and the next day, it's a worldwide sensation.
And at number 2, we have the icon, the one and only Trollface. This right here is art. This meme template was popularized in the early 2010s and has been used in the funniest and most ridiculous of contexts, giving us joy and resulting in us laughing hysterically on the floor as we scroll through social media.
Coming in at number 1, finally, the moment you have all been waiting for, the greatest meme of all time. It is, drum roll please, the Rick Roll!
Rick Astley released this beauty of a song on the 27th of July 1987 and gave it the name Never Gonna Give You Up. 30 years later, it is being used as a trick to put people in the Rickroll trap. You all obviously had some other interests such as music. In my opinion, the most influential music genre in the past few years has been pop music. The majority of people I know listen to it and are big fans of it. Mainstream artists like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, and a handful of others have been the reason for this unimaginable growth in the pop industry. With hundreds of millions of views per song, the pop industry is a giant.
I don't know if I can agree with you here, man. I would say hip-hop has evolved so much and is now something we listen to in our daily lives. Hip-hop has had major influence, even in other countries such as Egypt, India, Pakistan, and Morocco. They've all witnessed a rise in their hip-hop scene.
Well, let's agree to disagree then, because everyone has their opinions and we have got to respect that. Moving on to something that hasn't really risen to fame recently, but has been a thing since the dawn of time, anime. The anime community has risen to staggering popularity during quarantine because we had nothing better to do, and so we explore new things.
To be honest here, anime has been a part of my life since I was a kid. I grew up watching Detective Conan, Bakugan, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Naruto, and Captain Tsubasa, just to name a few. Recently, I've gone into other animes like Haikyuu and Kuroko's Basketball. And trust me when I say this, I am hooked.
Well, for me, I didn't get into anime up until recently, just when quarantine started. It has definitely been a pivotal part of our generation and has boosted our creativity.
Now, on to gaming. Another thing you all love doing. Unfortunately, I feel very sad to tell you this, but no, we are not going to include Papa's Pizzeria and Fireboy and Water Girl.
Regardless of what games you play, they've helped almost all of us get through quarantine. Games like Fall Guys, Among Us, and Warzone have been the main contenders, taking all the spotlight. Their dynamic multiplayer compatibility allows everyone to play with their friends and just have a laugh while adding some victories to their belt.
Now, we'd like to talk to actual teenagers from our school. Not that we aren't teenagers, of course, but getting a range of insights will definitely help add substance to our points. As teenagers of this generation, we're often misunderstood and viewed as inferior.
Contrary to this belief, our generation has been a force of reckon with when it comes to proving these views wrong by showcasing our abilities in every aspect. At this point in time, along with being at a very formative stage in our life, we're also at our most vulnerable and subject to the most influence. We're all in the midst of developing our personalities. It's fascinating how we all have similar interests, even though we're so unique and perhaps even polar opposites.
So let's hear it from our teenagers. Firstly, we have Nurhan from grade 10.
As a teenager who was stuck indoors during quarantine like the vast majority of us, I was in the hunt for a new quarantine hobby. And not that I didn't have hobbies previously, it was because most of my hobbies are outdoor adventurous hobbies, like swimming and basketball and hiking. And of course, it's self-explanatory why I couldn't complete pursuing them. One of my now all-time favorite hobby I picked up during quarantine was cooking and baking, because there's nothing like spending some time in the kitchen to unwind during this stressful time. Plus, it's rewarding at the end when you get to taste the dish you made. Another hobby of mine that I practiced to kill some time was learning languages. I have in fact learned French in the past, but since I was busy all the time, I couldn't practice it as much. However, quarantine was the perfect time to do so, and I enjoyed learning and observing as my progress level as well as my fluency skyrocketed. Being a teenager in the 21st century can sometimes be overwhelming and pressurizing to say the least. Today's society and the public expect so much from teenagers in terms of academic achievement, morals, social relationships, and status. This causing us to feel stressful, anxious, and emotional. Since this time period of our lives is where a lot of changes and adaptations happen that can be both mentally and physically draining.
To be honest, what I just heard, absolute perfection. I think Nurhan represented all of us during this quarantine and how we all acted and dealt with it. We picked up new hobbies, we did some new things. I personally picked up some Japanese from anime. Harigato gozaimasu, you know? Now secondly, we have Adil.
I think we can all agree that quarantine was a weird and unprecedented period where we all found ourselves with plenty of time but with no plan on how to spend it. I know some people who decided to learn to play a musical instrument or pick up a new skill such as drawing, but personally I decided I wanted to learn a language, specifically Italian. Looking back, I thought learning a new language wouldn't be as exciting as other skills, but once I started falling in love with the Italian culture and its beautiful language, there was no coming back. Moreover, just learning about 15 minutes a day helped me improve my mental health by feeling a sense of accomplishment as I found language learning a very rewarding skill. I think that being a teenager, especially in this era, has really stressed the importance of hobbies in our daily lives. Hobbies can keep you in the moment, taking your mind away from stressful thoughts and focusing on an activity you really enjoy. While not all hobbies offer the same level of mental or physical engagement, hobbies help you practice mindfulness techniques without even realizing it.
Quarantine did not have to be a time where all of us were locked up in our houses, bored and unmotivated, with nothing to do if we didn't want it to, and Adil's thoughts proved it. Moreover, it is a great skill to acquire in the long run. I remember spending my time on speed typing and trying to beat my previous records every day during the month of quarantine. Although it may not have been the most knowledgeable skill to learn, it was still something I enjoyed doing, and having the moments to challenge myself was just a whole another experience. Come to think of it, y'all should give it a try.
And finally, we have Layan Hussein from 10th grade.
Life as a teenager can be pretty overwhelming. On top of all the usual stress like schoolwork, house chores, and taking care of family members, we also have to deal with the criticism, judgment, pressure, anxiety, friendship. This list can go on and on and on. Quarantine didn't help at all. In fact, it just made the stress even more. Due to quarantine, most of us are no strangers to boredom. COVID forced us all to discover new hobbies, and I've accepted the challenge. Although it took me a few months, I never gave up on searching for these alternatives. I learned new skills like photography, skating, playing the piano, and drawing. My interest in photography started when I got a camera for my birthday. I was completely clueless on what to capture, but I realized that there is beauty in everything. Another interest I've acquired is skateboarding. 1 month and a fractured leg later, I learned the ollie and the kickflip along with some other simple tricks. Thank you.
Skateboarding is very difficult indeed, and it requires a lot of injuries before you perfect it. And right now, we see two spectrums of quarantine, where someone has lost all of their physical hobbies and interests in pursuit of none of things that are less outdoorsy, and someone who has pursued something more in the outdoors, such as skateboarding, like Leanne said.
And on this note, we end today's episode of the one and only Good Afternoon Show.
Thank you so much for your suggestions. With them, our show is constantly reaching new heights. If you have any more suggestions to make our show even better, you can fill in the suggestions form in the Student Council section of the school website. We hope you enjoyed this episode. These are your hosts, Yusuf
And Dipanjan signing off.
Muchas gracias. Stay safe.
And adios.